Drew Nussbaum from the Wisconsin Department of Tourism, and he's going to be taking us out today.
You're stuck with me for the next 90
Yeah.
minutes. How many of you were here last month and had to put up with me? Only a couple. The word didn't get to you, huh? Yeah. Those of you, thank you for lying. I appreciate it. Yeah, no. I'm a regional with the Department of Tourism. I've been in this position since early 2012. Before that, I spent most of my life in hotel, restaurant work. I was a media consultant, marketing consultant, tourism consultant for many years, and for about 10 of those mixed in, I also ran the Columbia County Visitors Bureau. So locally, I worked with Sauk County, Juneau County, Dodge County, Columbia, Dane, very closely on tourism. It's really a passion of mine, and the other part of the passion aspect really goes back to my roots of customer service when I do talk about hospitality and restaurants and hotels. I was blessed that I really got to work with some really awesome people over the years. And you always remember those ones that really make an impact. Now, we all work for idiots sometimes too. As you go through your careers, you'll end up stuck to somebody that really didn't know what they were doing, and maybe at the time you didn't realize just how ineffective they were until you worked for somebody that was really awesome, and then you go, okay, wow, this is how it's supposed to be. I'll be honest, most of what I'm going to show you today are things that I have stolen for the last 30 years in all the different positions I've been in, from operator to owner to consultant. But they are things that I think are true to our industry and true to working with guests and working with customers. The one thing that I want to set forth right now is that if you thought you were attending a customer service training, again, love air quotes, this is not a training. There's nothing here today that's going to train anyone. What I want to do is establish a basis for what our attitude is going to be and how we're going to open our eyes to talking to guests about any issue they have, whether it's good or bad. Now, if you thought you were just here we're going to engage in customer complaints and how do we deal with customer complaints, we're going to get to that part. But I want to let you know that really what this is all about is how do we set the stage internally within our own business, whether you're the owner, the operator, an employee, whether you're only responsible for these 2 feet and the job you do, you're still responsible for that. That is what we do, that is who we are, and we wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for customers. So when they walk in the door, we have to be prepared for whatever that's going to be. First thing I want to show you is a great piece. This is there's a firm that I've met and worked with over the years. They've put together this piece, and I really think it kind of opens our eyes and clarifies just exactly who is our customer.
I am my car. I am my clothes. I am my bank account. I am my house. I obey my thirst. I have it my way. I just do it. I deserve a break today. I double my pleasure, double my fun. I live the high life because I'm worth it. I'm looking out for number one. I wait for nothing. I have a million choices. I get what I want. I do what's best for me. I spend my time where I want to spend it. No one wastes it but me. I have the world at my fingertips. If it doesn't work, I'll throw it out and get a new one. If I'm uncomfortable, I leave. There's another place just down the street. If I'm unhappy, I'm missing something. I find it. I buy it. If I want it, I get it. I accumulate. I collect. I acquire. I take. I use. I devour. I consume. I am not the center of the universe, but I'm the center of mine. I want to know what's in it for me. I want to know what I get out of it. I'm here to find happiness. I live for comfort. I exist to be served. The world exists to serve me. I am the customer. The customer is king. I am king.
Does that sound like your guess? Do you have customers that are quite that demanding? Some? Are they all that demanding? No. Now, how many of you, who in this room is part of the Y generation? Part of the millennials? Look at the hands go up. I love how, oh God. When I said Y generation, it was like, what, who? Then I throw out the M word and everybody goes into panic right away. We're going to pick on the millennials in a little bit. Actually, it's all good. I'm having fun. But we will talk about generations a little bit because one thing has changed over the last few years. We have seen a complete dominance, if you will, in customer service and what people anticipate, what they want. And a lot of that is driven by one thing, social media. The world is now here. Anything we need to know about anything, any place, what's going on, your reputation is here. We can look it up, we can have that information, we can find out how well do these folks handle good comments and bad. So that's really where we're going to go today. Now, first question, is a customer always right? I can tell you're in business because everybody's going, no. Thank God. I love it when I have business people in the room because they get it. No, the customer is not always right, but they do have the right to be wrong with dignity. Therein lies our challenge. The customer is always number one. And why are they number one? Well, because they have the cash. Yes, he's over here right away. He's like, yep, they got this. They have the cash. And one of the things I do not apologize for, and I'll look at the camera when I say this, I'm a blatant capitalist. It takes money to make the world go round. That's why we do what we do. That's the reward for being good in business, is the cash. That is the ultimate crown jewel. When we take care of a guest, they keep bringing you the money, and the better you are to them, they leave it with you. Now, who here goes out for a Friday night fish fry? You go out for dinner. How many places do you go to on a regular basis? Three? Okay. Who else had their hand up? How many?
Normally one.
One? Okay. She got it narrowed down. She knows what she wants. Who else? Anyone? Another hand went up.
We've got three different places
Three?
I'd like to go.
Okay. What if you've only got one, so you're in trouble? Okay. They screw
I
up.
know them more, I just,
There is no screwing up, right?
it's the only one I can get my husband to go to.
Oh, okay. But you still take him there, right? There, the girl. We got. What if one of the three that you guys regularly go to drops the ball? They don't deliver on what you want anymore. Now are you down to two? Does
Or
it
you
change?
might kind of
Maybe.
skip them, maybe.
Might
miss
change.
one, or-
Yeah, it might change the relationship and how many places we're going to have, what our choices are going to be. So again, who loses in that? Truly the business does. Because you pick the place you want to go, you're still spending the same amount of money. Nothing changed in your equation other than an options out the window. So when I talk about this aspect of is the customer always right, well, I'm very passionate about the fact that a customer does have to be number one. We have to do everything in our power to get them into a position where they believe they're number one. But I forbid my staff and anyone else to cross the line to be wrong. And why do I say that? If the customer's wrong, why would we apologize for something we didn't do? And there has to be a line there. There has to be a line in the sand. We'll talk more about handling those circumstances in a little bit. So we've got to stand on principle because that's what we do with our business. We run by principle. You're the leader of the business. Even if you're not the leader, you are the leader of your job. You're responsible for what you do. You only can be a confident and competent employee if you've been trained well, you're comfortable in doing your job, and it's a good day. You know it's a good day, you're doing everything by the book, and all you need is one person to say, hey, I have a problem, you didn't do this. Well, yeah, I did. I didn't make a mistake. Why would you want to put yourself at a lower standard in that circumstance? Have you ever fired an employee? Raise your hand if you ever had to fire somebody. You like it?
No.
No. Maybe you did at the moment. He's smiling. He's like, well, you don't know this guy. Okay? Have you ever had to fire a customer? And we don't think about that, but have you ever had to fire a customer? Have you ever finally had to tell somebody, there's nothing I can do to make you happy. It's not going to work. We're done. And it's a tough one to bring up sometimes because we're always remembering where's the money coming from and how many people are they going to go out and tell that we fired them. But think of the damage that one person can do to your business if they're truly out to get you for the wrong reason. They're at fault, they're wrong, and they're trying to bring you down. Sometimes you have to say, you know what, this isn't good for my business. I've got to make a change here. So here's the tough thing about being a good leader. Whether you are on the customer side of this, and it's you who has an issue you're bringing to someone, maybe it's not even an issue, maybe it's a compliment, or you're on the other side of it, you're the employee, employer, it's about you, okay? Every situation is about you. If I bring something to you, I walk up to you, hi, I'd like to talk to you about something. This is now between you and I. It's you and it's me. That's all it is. It's not an owner, it's not a boss, it's not anyone else in the business, it's two people, it's between us. Where it goes from there is entirely up to those two people. And we're setting this up for where we're going to go. Let's talk about our staff first. Who do you want to work with? Which one of those faces is the person you want to walk in the morning and have, hi Drew, how are you? How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Oh my God. Okay, I know it's going to be a long 90 minutes. But good Lord, I'm not that bad. And plus, you're probably getting paid to be here. How's your afternoon going? Great. All right. There are 2 customers in your life that are going to be the toughest that demand that type of feedback, that demand that type of attitude. You know who they are? The first one in the door and the last one in the door. And I learned that from a dear friend of mine who had a very good point. He goes, if you can bring the energy, if you open the door at 8 o'clock in the morning and you close it at 10 o'clock at night, if you can bring the energy at 8 a.m. and bring the energy at 10, the rest of the day's a cakewalk. Plus, your staff will see that that energy is required beginning and end. How many of you have worked in a business where the door gets locked at this time? 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever it is. You lock the door. What's the look on your face when you're locking the door and 5 people are running across the parking lot trying to get in? Yeah. Are you welcoming them in the door, or do you look like the dawn of the dead? Okay? On the other side of it, have you been the customer trying to run in the door to get something and you get that look? Sometimes we just got to step back and remember what's it like to be on the other side of that equation. How do we make sure that we're always in sync with that customer walking in the door? Again, if they're running in the door just before you close, they're not coming in there to say, hi, how are you? I want to talk for the next hour. They know you're closing. They probably figured it out. They wouldn't be running in the first place. But they do have one thing very important in common with that person at 8 o'clock in the morning, the stack of cash. They're a guest coming in the door to reward you for staying open. I'll be nice to you, you be nice to me, and I'll leave you some of this, and then I'll go back, and next time I'll come back in the middle of the afternoon. But it is staff interaction. This is who we are. Are you always in a happy, good mood? At 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the boss goes, hey, how's everybody doing? Do you respond, hi, Drew? Or do you go, hey, it's good, how are we doing? Let's do it. Yeah, let's make some more money. We're open for the next few hours. What attitude do we have as a team? Now, are you the person on staff that has that let's go rock and roll attitude? Are you the one? If you're not, who is? Is there somebody, when I said this, did somebody pop into your head that you're thinking, this person's always crazy? I was usually the crazy one. But who is that person? Do you have somebody in your business, in your life, that is always that person? You know, you can almost count on it that if you're in their company, they're going to pump you up. They're going to get you going. They're always in a good mood. They're always ready to go for it. If you have that person, hook onto that train. You don't need the ones that go, are we done yet? Okay, that's not going to help. We want to be around the people that have energy. Now, back to generations. We're hiring a lot of people. We're working with a lot of people, a lot of teams. The Y generation. Okay, raise your hand again. Be proud. Y generation. But let me guess, you don't like millennials, right? Don't like the term? You're not living in your parents' basement, unemployed, playing video games all day? Okay. Here's the irony behind this. You realize that that demographic starts in 1980. These are the same kids that we were hiring in the late 90s and the mid to late 90s to work in our businesses, and you never heard one complaint. There was never a complaint of those people working for us until 10 years later when we threw the name branding on them, millennials, because we passed the year 2000. Obviously became, you are the fault and you are the root of the evil of everything that's gone wrong over the last 20 years. It's not true. Stop picking on millennials, okay? We've actually learned a lot of wonderful things because of the millennial demographic, and we'll talk more about that. Here's who you should be focused on, the centennials. This is all of our high school and college students right now today. This is our future, folks. And we haven't even, how many of you have ever heard the term centennials before today? One. Okay. How many of you heard the term millennials before today? Oh yeah, I tell you, that's a name you just can't wait to throw that one out in public, right? That is like the, whoop, I stepped in some millennial. Okay? It is, I'm sorry, I think it's ridiculous. It's like a stereotype that we've picked on an entire generation of people just because it's hard to hire. Who here needs more help? You would love to have more coworkers, more people. You need to hire some really good people. 2.9% unemployment and about 2.74 statistically are unemployable. I know that sounds kind of cruel, and I won't say that people are unemployable, just that we can't hire them. They're unable to work, they're aged, retired, whatever it may be. So you don't have a lot of people left out there to go after to employ. So then that does conjure up another problem of where are we going to get more workers. But here we go. Here's the age groups. Now, what has changed in the way that we interact? What has changed in the way that we demand customer service? Okay, if we go back to this first one here, there's your traditionals. Once the economy started getting tighter, 75 and older, we saw a lot of folks leaving retirement, going back into the workforce because of tough economy, needed a little extra money, got bored, it was cool to work. I had a couple of guys that came back and said, you know what, I'm just kind of bored sitting around the house. I retired, I don't travel as much as I thought I would, and being around a bunch of young kids makes me feel fun. I can joke, I can laugh, I realize I'm still a kid at heart. So you saw a lot of people entering it. But what was interesting is you talk to someone who's a traditionalist on the far end of the age demographic, and then you talk to high school students, you could put those same folks together working in hospitality, customer service, and there was absolutely no gap whatsoever. Talking to guests was exactly the same as it's been for the last 75 years. Nothing has changed. We still, when a guest walks in there, go, hi, I'm Drew. How are you? Thanks for being here. That hasn't changed. The technology aspect changed. Now, if you go back to boomers and X, and we had to learn technology. We're still working on it. For millennials and centennials, they never had to unplug the phone cord from the wall to get to this. You guys knew it from day one. I've got a 13-year-old daughter. I don't know if she ever knows that there was a phone that you had to push buttons on and turn a dial on. She's fascinated by it. But that is where we're at. We also, here's one thing that's rather interesting. If I wanted to go, say today I want to run and buy a new pair of shoes in town. While I'm here today, I need to get a new pair of shoes. How many places could I go buy a pair of shoes? In Sauk Prairie? 2? Not many? Okay. St. Vinny, okay. 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 How far do I have to go if I want to order a pair of shoes? And they'll be at my house tomorrow. That's how things have changed. Now, the other thing is that while we may not, in smaller towns, we may not have a lot more options, we also can research them. How many people would not drive to Madison to go get exactly what they want? Drive to Milwaukee to go exactly what they want? Where's the boundary of how far you'll go to get the product you want? The millennials and centennials know that this is the basis for communication on what their options are. You have 3 places, you have 3 places you can go for a fish fry. I can bring up fish fries at supper clubs in Wisconsin and have about 1,000 options right here. And I go, oh, that looks good. Let's go pick that one. Geez, that's only an hour away. The distance of travel is somewhat irrelevant for quality. I like that now. I do. I like that. Here's why I compliment these generations. Because it has put us on our mark. Taking care of customers has become a dominant issue in our industry. It's no longer a question of whether we're going to take care of guests 100% of the time. It's mandatory now. Because if they're not happy, where do they go? Anywhere they want. They can leave. And how many people do they tell? The old days of I told 1 and they told 2 and they told 4. Now my daughter can make a complaint and tell 1,500 people, and she's 13. So the ability to spread damage, to destroy our reputation as operators is so much easier to do. We've got to make sure we're on top of it. But it still keeps being fun to pick on this poor generation. So until they get older, we have to figure out how we don't pick on this demographic. We do equate it with this sign. How many of you need people? Raise your hand. If you're hiring, how many do you need? Do you need people? How many you got to hire? 5, 10, 100? Everywhere you go. Is there a place that you can't go and find these signs? This adds to the problem. What happens when you see this sign? Statistically, we know from research, talking to customers, if they go to those 3 places like you talked about, and one of them consistently has a sign in the window that says now hiring, and then it becomes on the marquee, and then it's on every table. What's your perception of that operation?
Either the help isn't happy and they're not staying, and there's not enough help there to help you.
Mm-hmm. So let's just put these signs up. It's funny to laugh, but the sad part is this is the reality of that circumstance. And because it has actually damaged our businesses. We are at that plateau where how do you grow your business if you don't have the staff to grow it? And if the business is growing, are you overworking? Are people getting frustrated? Is it hurting our customer service? Customers are seeing that. And they're starting to associate that. Ironically, that's where it comes back to that demographic of workforce. Okay, well, if the medium age right now is 35 to 40 and that fits which demographic? Oh yeah, you guys. We'll pick on them. And that's just, it's not fair. I'm just saying that's how this is working out. That's why it's become that. Now, we've got to make sure that regardless of the demographic, who are we hiring? What are we looking for? Are we hiring the same qualifications regardless of age, regardless of how tight we are for help? Don't lower our standards. Make sure that if we want people for hospitality, customer service, sales, working with a guest, that they've still got the same qualities as we do, because we're working with them. They're doing our job, we're doing their job, we're working as a team. We've got to make sure we stay where we are. Are we hiring integrity? If you were here for my last presentation, I spent quite a bit of time talking about loyalty, honesty, compassion, attitude. Do we hire that? Are we looking for those people that truly have that integrity where they're dedicated? They're willing to give it all to make it happen. They're here to do the job no matter what. They're willing to learn. They're willing to go through the good and the bad, but they got the right attitude. There's an integrity there. There's a trustworthiness. You can throw all the different words into it. Are we hiring intelligence? Are we truly hiring someone who really knows their job? They're really sharp. They're coming in. I had an opportunity a while back. I interviewed a gentleman and sat down, and he was your classic 25 to 30-year-old. And the things that he was talking about in technology and marketing, I was in awe. I was like, wow, you really know your stuff. And I started interviewing him on a whole different level. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. What are you doing with this? I mean, I was making notes, not necessarily for hiring the poor guy. I'm like, oh, this is great stuff. Like, by the way, if you want the job, you can have it. You're awesome. This is great. But I could see the intelligence. And the part that was fascinating for me is that I realized, again, here you start seeing some of those gaps in generation. Here's somebody that truly brought a modern world attitude to what we're doing, could really bring in this whole change in charisma. And then I wanted that person who had the energy. A little bit ago when I asked, who's that person you have in your circle of friends, circle of professional people? I'm fortunate to say, I don't know if you ever met Secretary Collette, Department of Tourism, my boss. She's it for me. I met her in 1998 when she was the host of Discover Wisconsin. I saw her personality. I saw her the way she talked to people, her knowledge of the state, the way she was charisma. And I was fascinated. I was like, wow, you're really good. I had no idea that I'd ever get a call so many years later saying, all right, I'm in tourism now for the state. What are you doing? You never know where your paths will cross again. But for me, she's that person. I know that if she calls me at 11 o'clock at night, I'm going to get the same fired up person as if she calls me at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's just who she is. And I think we all have to have somebody like that, even if it's only one or two people on our staff that really rises up that tide. Make sure you keep the three hooked together, though, and especially start with that integrity part, because you can get yourself into some real situations if you start with intelligence and energy, but they don't have trustworthiness. Unfortunately, this is where people can get creative and may not be sharing with you all of the information you need for your business. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second as far as the honesty factor goes. I love this part, I love this quote. We really are trying to organize chaos is what we're doing. Let's face it. Does every day at work go perfectly, swimmingly, smoothly? Or do you have those days where you go, I can't believe this day hasn't killed me yet? Okay? But to our guests, they don't care. Okay? Have you ever walked in the door of a business and you ask a business owner, hey, how's everything going? Huh? And they just got that look like deer in the headlights, like, please don't hurt me. All right? We can't get ourselves there. We've always got to rise above this. We've got to rise above this tide. Now, I'm going to start with this as far as setting the tide and setting the tone for how we engage with those challenging customers. First thing, guests are never an interruption, no matter where you are. Have you ever been in your business where you're having a conversation, just the 4 or 5 of you, working on, maybe even working on business? You're not talking about football game, you're not talking about anything else, you're actually talking about business, and a guest walks in the door. What's the first thing we do when somebody walks in the door? We stop and we stare at them, right? You ever been that person? Have you ever walked into a business, you're all fired up, you come in and there's all the employees, and the minute you come in the door, they just kind of stop and look at you. How do you feel? If somebody walked in late right now to this session, came in here, how many of you would turn around and go, all right, who's that? Okay? How many of you have been in that moment? The latecomers that walk into class or a session late and everybody goes, hi, couldn't get up on time, huh? We've had those moments, but we don't ever want to do that for our guests. We want to make sure that we still welcome them in the door. We want to make sure that no matter what we're doing, we make them part of what we're doing. If we're on the phone, it's never okay to do this. It's never okay to, you always have to engage that guest. Sometimes I realize you're the only person there. You're one person, there's limits to it, and we can talk more about that. You have to have a smile on your face. You have to greet every person like you sincerely mean it. Okay? And again, this doesn't matter whether they're coming to you to buy a product, whether they're just walking in the door, or whether they're bringing you a complaint. We have to have that smile on our face. That's our first line of defense and our first line of support to make sure we're on the right page for talking to that guest. Have you ever been to LaGuardia Airport? This is actually the former welcoming aspect to the Port Authority. This was a plexiglass wall screen that was programmed and put up an image of a friendly, I love when people say, she's pretty. Yeah, she's not real. She's the deck of Star Trek. This is a fake hologram that greeted you. Hi, welcome to New York. If you're here for the Port Authority, you're here for help on your passport, please go down here. And yes, it was basically like having Siri on a plexiglass screen. So if you've ever talked to Siri on your phone or any of the rest of them, you know how they respond. Here's one thing that Siri here couldn't do: answer problems. Hi, I'm upset. I don't know where to go. I'm really hacked off. Can you help me? I'm sorry, I don't respond to those questions. I'm sorry, I don't respond to those questions. And if you're here from another country and you're speaking in Russian or German or anything else, then there'd be a different person there speaking that language. So it was also language reaction as well. But they still couldn't answer a problem. They can only give directions on what they're programmed for. I need help with my passport. Passport help would be down here. I need help with this. That would be down here. I'm upset with you and I want to kill you. I'm sorry, I don't respond to that question. So there was no way to analyze a customer complaint or to give anything other than a programmed response. How many of you like to go to a place, whether it's your fish fry locations or anywhere else, and you like to be known? You like it when somebody comes in and, hey, hi Drew, how are you? Good to see you. Do you ever have the moments where you don't want that though? You ever have that moment where a little incognito wouldn't hurt? Do you have guests that don't want to be called out? Maybe they want to be under the radar for a few minutes, but you get to know who that is. You get to know who the warm, fuzzy people are not, right? It's part of knowing your customers, knowing your guests. But for most people, knowing them by name, the Cheers scenario, that really welcomes people, which is why it's important for those people you don't know yet that you do everything you can to get them into that collective as well, to where you know who they are. Especially if you're filling out receipts, you're putting anything into a register in a database, you have that ability to find out who they are right away. You recognize these folks? Most recognizable beer name in the state, arguably, the Leinenkugels. This is an old photo. Dad passed away years ago. I've known these guys for years. I used to love it when you could walk into the visitor center, and now they give the tours there at Leinie Lodge, and Jake is behind the counter. Nobody expects that Jake Leinenkugel is going to give you a tour of his brewery. He'd go down there once a week. He's like, I'm going to go down and lead a tour today. And he'd just go down there and he'd walk in the door and go, hi, I want to take a tour. All right, let me show you around my place. And people get that kind of funny look, and then they look at the picture on the wall and go, hey, it's him. It was kind of cool. And he says, you know what? I can walk into a place and check in and go, hi, my name is Jake. And they go, oh, hi, Jake. I'm Jake Leinenkugel. Oh, hi, sir. It was that change in how he was treated as a customer, just those little things, so people would recognize that. So the name thing, but he goes, no matter where I go, the minute I throw Leinenkugel out, even if you don't drink beer and you're not from the city, you go, oh, like the beer? Yes, like the beer. And he would laugh about that. He goes, but that's how important it is to us. We want everybody in our company to be a Leinenkugel. We want, when a guest walks in the door here, that you're no different than we are. We want that same reaction. How do you not argue with a customer, right? What do you do if a guest upsets you to the point where you want to engage? How do you stop? That's the key thing, is we can never argue with a guest. It's tough to do, especially if they're wrong. How do you not argue with them? Again, we'll go through more of that in a little bit, but that's one of the key things to make sure we never allow ourselves to be pulled into a circumstance to where we argue, especially around other guests and especially around other staff. We've got to find a way to diffuse that moment and get ourselves into a better circumstance. How do I get from here to there? I don't know. You ever walked into some convenience stores like at 10 o'clock in a small town and go, hey, I'm just getting into town. I need to go do something cool. What is there to do? Nothing. And I'm not picking on convenience store folks. I know we might have a few in the room. But I travel across the state, and there's nothing I hate more is when I walk into a place and there's one person behind the counter, 10 o'clock at night, everything else is closed. Hi, how are you? How's it going? Huh? What do I do for fun? Here. Leave. Okay, I'll leave. And we laugh, but the sad part is it happens too often. And why does that happen? Because we've got the wrong person there. We really do. Maybe we needed a warm body, but we truly have the wrong person behind that counter, that wrong person welcoming guests into our business. There's no rapport there. There has to be a connection. There has to be. How did Prairie du Sac get its name? There's a simple question. How did Prairie du Sac get its name? We didn't know there's a quiz. Yes? Okay. Du Sac. Sac and Fox Indian. Any more?
Some sort of French explorers or something?
Okay. Yep. Very good. Okay. So we've got Native American, French explorers. More? How many of you had no idea before when I threw that out there? Honestly, throw your hands up. Had no idea. And now you've got a little bit of an idea that, oh yeah, Prairie du Sac, that makes sense. Okay. There you go. There's your homework. You can start working on that. Now, what if a guest asks you something as simple as that? How'd this town get its name? Or where's this product? Or how's that? You know what? I don't know, but I'll find out. You found out something in a room of your peers right here today, something very simple, and it gives you something more to work on that you can answer a question with, and it's just from this room. Imagine if you've got 100 employees right there that you can turn around and go, hey guys, what do we do with this? How do we, help me out? I don't know what the answer is. Who's got an answer for this? Believe me, customers love it if you'll go that extra mile and say, hey, you know what, I got a guy in the back here, he knows all about this product or service. Talk to this guest, he's my guy, he'll bring everything to you. It's great when we can tap into the resources we already have. Again, the money, I don't apologize ever for bringing this up repeatedly, but that is what changes the equation. It is guests that walk in every day and reward us for hard work. They bring it to us. We get that money, our businesses get that money, our communities get that money. Unless you missed it yesterday. Yesterday was tax day number 2, because the IRS couldn't get it right on tax day number 1. It's kind of fun to poke a little fun at the IRS for once, isn't it? But guess where the money comes for the taxes? From us, from working. There wouldn't be any taxes taken out of our check if we didn't have a job. So yes, that money goes to different places as well. So it is part of this whole economy. It is part of this whole scenario of how important it is that we make sure that we take care of our guests. Again, don't forget the positive aspect of it. Always be that leader. Always be the person that when a guest walks in the door, you're there for them. You're gonna make them confident and competent and understand that we're going to be here to deliver everything you need. Have you been to Disney? Who's been to Disney? Tell me about Disney.
It's crazy.
Yeah? Define.
It's packed with people.
Okay.
It's costly. It's
Costly. Money.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
expensive
Do you have kids?
too.
Did they care it cost money?
No.
Probably a different experience for them, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yep. I know what it's like to almost have the second mortgage for an amusement park. Okay. Disney, however, does some fascinating things that people don't realize until you start looking at the inner workings of how they take care, how they set the table to make sure their guests are happy. You know what the one product you can't buy at Disneyland?
Gum.
Gum. There's no chewing gum. Go into any of their stores and try to buy gum. And if you've ever run a business and you've been outside the person with a scraper trying to get the gum off the sidewalk, you know why there's no gum at Disney. You ever run your hand down a railing and, ugh, okay? No gum at Disney. You can bring it, but they don't sell it. The other thing I think is fascinating, they go obscure about studying habits. Garbage cans are specifically 22 feet apart. Anywhere you stand at Disney, there will be a garbage can within 22 feet. Why is that? Because if it's longer than 22 feet, people will try to throw to it, and they miss. If it's shorter than that, they drop. Why? We don't know, but they studied it, and Disney discovered that if you put a garbage can every 22 feet, the garbage will make it into the garbage can. So there's less garbage on the floor, and the place looks cleaner, and they pride themselves on Disney being spick and span. Little things. Now, what does that have to do with customer complaints? Well, it sets the table so that the experience is already positive. They're trying to diminish customer complaints by doing all the right stuff ahead of time. It's kind of fun to see how they set those things up. Going the extra mile. Again, if you're the person who welcomes people in the door at 8 o'clock in the morning and welcomes them in the door the same way at 10 o'clock at night, you've set that standard that you're the person who's always there. Who has a Facebook page for their business? Anybody got social media? Have you ever checked your own Facebook page like 10 o'clock at night and you look at the business one, if you're the admin, you go, oh, somebody made a comment here, so you reply to them. And you can tell when they reply, like, oh, wow, thanks for the quick response. They're like amazed that at 10 o'clock at night a business would actually respond. Well, they posted at 9:59, you responded 10. It shows how overtime you really are, even though you're not. You're not there in the office, but maybe you just took that extra mile. You're responding to a guest. Okay, you take care of it. Somebody called, left a message on your office, you called them first thing in the morning and you take care of those. That's going the extra mile, making sure that we're always there for people. That takes it to being an attitude. The skill part, the training part, is training our staff to do their job, to be competent and competent in the job, but setting the tone for the attitude, making sure that the attitude is where we want it to be in our business, so that when people walk in the door, they can sense it. Have you ever walked into a business, you can just sense the attitude? It's just going to be a fun place. You've gone into, especially restaurants, bars, grills, hotels, resorts. You just walk in the door and you just go, this is going to be good. You haven't even talked to anybody yet, but you can just tell by looking around, it's like, this is going to be great. And first person you pass, they're like, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? You know, and 25 people walk past you, and they're all employees, and they go, hi, how are you? And you go, good Lord, what's happening here? I mean, it sets that tone already to, you're already getting yourself in a better mood. You're setting your guests in a better mood. You're limiting that ability to come back and complain. Because what happens if we don't position our businesses this way now? You've seen the now hiring signs. How many of you have seen these? This is where the customer votes not to bring you the stack of money. That's as simple as it is. They don't come to you anymore. Why? Why did they stop coming? You didn't sell what they wanted? You didn't take care of them? Statistically, we know that 68% of customers do not return to a business because of the way they were treated. 68% of the ones that don't come back. It's almost 70%. That's an amazing number when you think about it. It's not what we sold them. It's not what happened. It's not the competition. It's how we treated them was the dynamic factor that chased them away from our business. And that's where this goes to. Now, how do we keep that positive energy? How do we stay at a situation to where when they walk in the door, they know that that's the attitude we want? Here's a few things that are, I think you'll enjoy these quotes, if you will. If you keep your thoughts positive, you keep your mindset the way you want it, it'll reflect yourself in your words. You will speak the way you want to be known. You'll be looked upon as a positive person, not a negative person. So it really sets that tone for you. And then your words all of a sudden become a behavior because you're so used to saying it that you start doing it. It really gets you in that light to where your behavior now follows the model you've started to put together, and the people around you start to see that. And then your behavior just becomes a habit. Being a good person, being in a good mood, doing the right thing has just become a source of habit because you don't know any other way anymore. And if your habits become so ingrained, that becomes the values. Now, what's another word we can throw in for values? Anybody? What are your values? Morals. Okay. Anyone else? Someone asks you, what's that person like? What's their reputation? If I go to that business, what's their reputation for taking care of a guest? Well, it's based on the values. It really is. It's part of that culture at that point. And then the values become part of the goal. Who here wants to be rich, famous, or not? You just like to be rich. Everybody says, money doesn't buy happiness. Doesn't hurt. Okay? I've worked for poor people. I'll take the other side of the equation. Thank you. Okay? It does become a positive destiny because achievement is what we are based on. It is about being successful. Whether we want to be known for being successful or just want to be valued for being successful, whatever it may be, everybody's got their own value standards for what their personal goals are. But that is your destiny. And you don't want to fail. Everybody wants to win. We definitely want to set up a situation where we win. If you think these are great moments of wisdom for me, we have to credit this to Mahatma Gandhi. I stole this from him. This poster actually hung in my office. A teammate gave me this poster years ago. And I hung it on the wall, and I really never paid a lot of attention to it until one day when I was having one of those moments. You know, one of those days. I had just dealt with an employee. I had just dealt with a customer that gave me one of these. Have you ever had a customer give you one of those? The old crap finger? Nothing good ever comes out of this. Just dealt with that. I went in the office, closed the door for a moment of solitude, and I turned around, and I read that. And it was kind of one of those like, okay, time to shut up or put up. Let's do it here. This actually is telling me everything that I need to get my head wrapped around at this point. So then it brought me back to if I can deal with different customer or different employees, how about customers? Which customer here do you want to deal with? If you had your pick, who would you like? Anybody? Him? That's kind of like me after 2 cups of coffee in the morning. Okay? You get that guy some days. That's after a long afternoon. Yeah, you know, if you haven't figured out it's the same person, just different shots. We don't have the choice. And if you had that customer that walks in the door and they're always in a good mood, they're always in a good mood. They're always there. They're always positive, and then that one day they're not. How do we respond? And it's a tough one because you just like friends, you get used to having that person who's always in that mood, always in that front, and all of a sudden it changes. And you go, wow, okay. Hey, how's it going today? Well, not very good. What's going on? Talk to me. You usually come in, you're all jovial and you're happy. Again, that becomes part of that interaction with our guests, with our customers, with the people that spend time with us. And we've got to know them when we know there's something different about that customer. It's going to change. It's going to change a lot, and we have to react to it. I love Seinfeld humor because when it comes to interacting with customers and interacting with managers and how we do things, there's no better clip on the planet than this one.
Oh, I'm sorry, we have no mid-size available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the hold. Anybody can just take them.
Let me speak with my supervisor.
Here we go. A supervisor. You know what she's saying over there?
What?
Hey, Marge, see those two people over there? They think I'm talking to you. So you pretend like you're talking to me. Okay, now you start.
Oh, you mean like this, so it looks like I'm saying something, but I'm not really saying anything at all?
Now you say something else, and they won't yell at me because they thought I was checking with you.
Okay, thanks. See you later. I'm sorry, my supervisor says there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, it looked like you were in a real conversation over there.
But we do have a compact if you would like that.
Fine.
All right. Well, we have a blue Ford Escort for you, Mr. Seinfeld. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I'm going to beat the hell out of it.
Please, fill this out.
Is that not the epitome of reality, though? Okay? How many times, who's voiced a complaint to an employee? You're up. Take it if you got to get it. Money is time, and time is money. I get it. I actually tell people, and if you've been through my presentation before, I always tell them, don't mute the phone. You got a business to run. Something more important may be happening outside than me. Please. How many of you have ever had to voice a complaint to an employee? Somewhere, anywhere. Whether it's a restaurant, a hotel, it's a product, somebody that you were engaging with, you took a problem to them. Walked in the door, I'm upset, here's something, fix this. And they didn't know how to fix it, for one. They had no idea what to do to even start the apology process. Probably, maybe not have even said, I'm sorry. And they go, okay, I'll go get my boss. And they ran off and got the boss, and maybe they came back and said, okay, I need to find out more, what are we doing here? And then they run back, get the boss, and ultimately then the boss has to come out and solve the whole problem. Okay? There's a lot of reality in that, because the problem we're running into is that there's a hierarchy of problem solving. If you take something to an employee at a business, just took it in. Maybe it's a product you bought, it broke. I want this replaced, I want it fixed. Here, it's yours now. Here you go. I don't care if you've been here a day, a year. I don't care if you own the place. I just want it fixed. Doesn't matter. I don't need you to have running off to the back room to go get a manager. I just want it fixed. If you're the person who can do this for me, I love you. Fix it. Do what I need. I don't need to meet the whole business. Because if you remember the Leinenkugel shot, you are this business. You're it. To me, you're the only person I need. I don't even want to bother these people. I don't like to run a business. They don't need this problem. You don't need this little fix this problem, especially if you've already got a culture of how to fix the problem. That person can do it. They can figure it out. We also have got to make sure that there's no blame game. And this is where we avoid getting into that confrontation, how to handle the actual customer complaint in the first place. And this is where we're going to start really diving into it. So now that hopefully I've set the culture aspect of it to you, that we're going to not look at customer complaints now in the same light. It's not going to be just this evil thing like, oh my God, there's a customer out here that needs something. What do we do? Sky's falling. It has to be no different than a compliment from a guest saying, you're the nicest person I ever met. Hey, thanks. and I got a problem. Ah, crap. Sometimes it can happen in the same moment, but we got to make sure that we react the same to both of those. Thank you. Well, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Well, I've got this issue. Okay, well, how can I help you? We've got to make sure that we engage it the same way and we don't scare people off of it. The same, hi, I'm Drew. Thanks for being here. Look, she's like, oh my God, here he comes. Now I'm walking around the room. How are you? Thanks for being here. Welcome. It's the same way we react no matter why somebody walks in our door. Make sure that we don't get away from that. The eye contact. What's the first thing you do if somebody gets in your face and goes, I got a complaint, I'm really upset about this? Do you keep looking at them and engage with them? Or at some point do you go, okay, I'd really like to get out of here? I'm going to start, especially if you're young, inexperienced, you're not an outward going person, you don't like engagement, you're going to try to get away from it. Your mind is going to want to take you away from that circumstance. It'd be just like a tough conversation. What do you do? I mean, when my father would say, Andrew, I need to talk to you, when that whole name came out, I knew I was in trouble. I wasn't making eye contact with Pop. I was looking somewhere else. Probably should have looked at Pop. It would have saved me from the other things that were going to happen in that discussion later on. But that becomes part of that. I've got to engage. I have to engage. I have to be part of this discussion. Of all these things, what's the most important? When a customer, whether you're greeting them for the first time or they're coming to you for what may not be a pleasant moment, what's the most important thing that you have to do? And here's some cues. Smile. Eye contact.
Ask them what their problem is.
Okay, and how do we ask them? What's wrong?
Let's try to figure it out, or just
Okay.
try to make it on their side, you know, that they,
All right, tell me about your problem.
you know, like that.
They give the right cues there for you? Tone of voice. The way we talk to someone is more important. The handshake, the eye contact, all of that's important. That's kind of like greeting 101. Tone of voice is the most important because we control it. And it controls us. Do I look happy? Did I say anything? But you could tell by looking at me, this guy's hacked off. Okay? I have a friend of mine who is deaf. Can't hear a word I say. Lucky guy, right? And as a kid, of course, I would yell at him when I tried to talk to him because kids are dumb and we don't realize, you know, even if I scream at you, you're not going to hear it. Hi, how are you? Shut up, I can't hear you. But he could look at me and tell I was screaming. It's like, you don't need to yell at me. I can't hear you. Does it matter? He says, well, again, you know, you can tell by looking at someone, your body language is your tone of voice. And then, of course, if someone is blind and they can't see you, they still the tone of voice. So there's the interesting piece of working with guests. Whether they can hear you or not, whether they can see you or not, your tone of voice dictates the conversation, dominates how we're going to progress moving forward. So that's one of the things to always remember. And while we have all those pictures of all those crazy faces up there, there's really only 4 personalities that we engage with on a regular basis. Think about it. You've got the person who walks in the door, really excited, always excited, talks a million miles a minute. How you doing? What's going on? Okay. And you try to catch up with them. Or you've got the other end of the spectrum where they talk like this. I have a problem. Can you help me? How do you get a reaction from this person? You almost want to upset them just so you can figure out how to solve the problem, right? Because there's no emotion. But that's 2 extremes. And now you've got the other people. You've got ones who talk fast, who don't know what they're saying. You've got ones that talk slow. But this is the interesting part. You really only have 4 specific personalities when it comes to customer interaction as a customer service person. So you have to make sure that you're identifying with that. Now the toughest one, in my opinion, is the person who goes slow, doesn't show emotion, because you have to read the emotion to fix the problem. You have to be able to figure it out. When somebody's really excited, like I'm mad, I got to talk to you, I need this right now, we can figure out where to go with that one. We can figure out how to bring them off and maybe diffuse them a little bit, and we'll talk about diffusing. That takes some talent. And we know where to tap into that, and we'll give some cues here in a little bit. But, you know, it takes a moment, and we can't just react to everybody the same way. How many of you know what your customer complaints are? If I asked you to make a list, get a few of those for me. I'm going to pass out a sheet here for you. Here, pass some of those down. If I asked you to make a list, you can do it now if you have a pen. If you don't, take it with you. What are your top customer complaints? If a guest walks in the door of your business, what do they complain about? Okay, what's the number one? I was in the restaurant business for years. I love the restaurant industry. I love the food industry. I love the hotel industry as well. You've all eaten in a restaurant. What do you guess is one of the first complaints? Just had to guess.
Someone being rude.
Someone was rude.
Waitress being rude.
Bad service. Customer or guest was rude, or employee was rude to a guest. Okay, next. Food came out slow. Service was slow. Next. Too expensive. Price. My God, I didn't know it was going to cost this much. Next. Anyone? What do you complain about if you had a bad meal? Food quality. Okay? Anything else? We're struggling to come up with 5 things in the restaurant industry. But yet you think about the food industry and you think, my God, there's got to be all kinds of just like our business, there's got to be these millions of complaints we deal with every day. And the irony is when you start making an actual list of what our complaints are, you start realizing we're actually answering the same question almost every time. We don't have a million different things. We've got 5, 10. Most people struggle to get past 10. Because, if you're in retail, you're in sales. It's a product. It's a product complaint. Bought a product, didn't work, broke down, need to replace, whatever it is. It's a product complaint. Salesperson was rude, there's a complaint. Wasn't open late, whatever. I mean, there's our list. There's our list of complaints. Now, after you have that list of complaints locked down, who in your business solves those problems? If I bring a product back to your store, here, I bought this yesterday, broke, it's your problem. Whose problem is it? Who has to solve the problem? Is it the cashier? Is it this employee? Ultimately, who in the business has the authority to fix the problem? That has the authority to make whatever decision necessary to solve the problem now, as fast as possible, to the guest satisfaction, get them back out the door, and ensure they're going to come back as a guest. Have you ever been so, and I'm going to be blunt, so pissed off at a business, you went in and you were just like, I'm done with you guys, I hate you, take this thing, I never want to see you again. And they did such a wonderful job of taking care of your complaint, fixing it, that you were like, oh my God, I can't believe how great this went. I'm going to go back forever. They're so good. They were so passionate about saving me as a guest and taking care of my problem. They obviously care and they only made a mistake. Have you had that happen? No? She's a no. Who's a yes? Got a few yeses maybe? Not a lot. That unfortunately speaks to how well maybe we don't handle our customer complaints as a society, not just business in general, but society. Do we address those problems? If you were here last time, there was a word that I said stop using. Do you remember what that word is? Who was here last time? Put you on the spot. Damn, more quizzes. Do 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 do. Don't be okay. Okay. Bingo. Okay. How many of you? Let's use a restaurant scenario before, because everybody goes out to eat at some point. It's a good one to use. You've been to those supper clubs, fish fries, where you go to your 3 places, and it's always good. That's why those 3 are on your list. And then there's one night where it's not quite. And the waitress says, hey, is everything okay? Or the waiter says, is everything okay? What's your answer?
Maybe fine. Yeah, it's good.
Bingo. How about you?
I always say that's, where we go, we usually have pretty good luck, so.
Usually. She said the word. It's almost as bad as okay. Usually. Okay. But if I ask you, is it okay? What do you say to me? Most of the time.
I guess we just say it's good.
It's okay.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on your list of 3, does it start making it number 3? Does it put it closer to being off the list? Because if you go back the next week and you get another okay visit, does it start moving it off the list? That's the problem we have. The only way you can find out the information you need is to ask questions. Was your steak done the way you ordered it? Was your drink made exactly the way you wanted it, sir? How is everything tonight? Is it perfect? Well, no. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What's wrong? What can I fix for you? What can I get for you? Well, this really wasn't, it's good every time I come here. This wasn't as good tonight. Well, let me do something about that. Let me fix that for you. You come here almost every week. I love having you as a guest. I'm not going to have you go out the door unhappy. I want to solve that. If I ask you if it's okay, most people will say what? Yeah. And again, this is where the demographics change. I'm an okay person. Unless it's bad, I usually don't complain either. I will vote with my wallet. This is where it changed with the demographics of millennials and centennials. They're unforgiving. They don't come back. And they tell 500 or 1,000 of their friends they're not coming back. That's where it's changed. TripAdvisor. Who's going on TripAdvisor? Have you ever bought a product on TripAdvisor?
No, but I do all my vacations, all my restaurants, everything.
And why do you go on TripAdvisor?
Because you have a lot of opinions from a lot of different people.
Bingo. Thank you for using the word opinions. I didn't pay her for that. It's an opinion poll. It's a public relations opinion of how good is my decision. I want to go to that place and I want to know that all these people think I'm right. That's what it is. Prove to me that my decision's right. Technology has changed that ability to get the feedback. You may have 10 friends that say, that's a great place to go for a fish fry. But on TripAdvisor, there's 25,000 of them that say it's a great place to go for a fish fry. Now, if you're going to look up that place and you're not familiar with it, do you guys use TripAdvisor, technology? You look at Yelp or anything? What's the first thing you look at? All the great comments? She's smiling. She knows where I'm going here. We can't wait to get to the bottom of the stack and go, why did this place suck? Ooh, cold food, this, that, da-da-da-da-da. Doesn't matter if there was 4 of them that said that, but we do look at that first. That's just part of where we're going, and that's part of the change in the feedback. Now, those people that are answering the questions, solving the complaints, who ultimately has the authority to make the final decision? Does it come down to a couple of people? Who's the top person? Is there an owner, managers in the room? Who's the top person? Is there somebody here that's the top of the totem pole? No, I don't put my hands up. There he is. He is. You're not top. Is someone to answer to you? Are you up the food? Somebody would come. You're up the food chain. Okay. Are you in the problem-solving realm?
Yes.
There you go. Okay. Can you make the same decision as the employee the same decision as you, the same decision as the company owner?
No.
Okay. Why not? Don't make me say this in public, sir. Please do not hold anything in this room against anyone else today, okay?
Hold on while I avert my eyes.
And I don't want to make anybody go where they're not comfortable with this discussion. No, I'm not trying to get you there. She turned a lovely shade of red already. I've gone too far. Okay. Here's the issue. Again, remember my comment when I said if I bring a problem to you, I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what your rank is. It doesn't care. I'm not a title person personally anyway. I hate titles. I've always been that kind of person. Even when I was in business, nobody wore a title. You never knew who was the general manager, the owner, you could tell the cooks because they're in white, but you couldn't tell who anybody was. Here's my name. You don't need to know what I do. There's no point to this because nobody here is better than anybody else. We're just here to take care of guests. So if these 2 people can make decisions that don't equate to those 5 people on these 10 problems, why do we have a hierarchy of problem solving? Think about it. Why do we need to go through the food chain for a guest? Is it benefiting us as a business to make sure that we don't go overboard in what we do? Here's the thing I noticed in almost every business I've ever consulted with. An owner or the top manager will do something for a guest that they guaranteed have told every employee, don't ever give this out. Don't do this, don't give this away, do not comp this, don't give refunds until it gets up to my desk, and then I'll give the farm away. I know, we kind of laugh, but there is a reality to that. Now, I am not for one second, we'll get there in a second too, I'm not talking about violating company policy, okay? I understand if there is a protocol in place. I'm not saying start breaking company policy today. I don't want to get you fired over this. But it is something to think about, how we interact with these issues. Now, on the back side of this piece of paper, flip it over. How many of you have a customer comment log? And I call it a complaint log just because it's easier to remember to log the complaints. But along with that, you have a great comment log. Does somebody walk in the door and say, this is the best place I've ever been, this is so cool, I'm from California, can't believe how great this was. And what if somebody wrote that down on this complaint log and said, guest from California, best place I've ever been to? And then the rest, you maybe got a complaint here and there. Now again, How do you track your complaints? Do you have a process? You can create one for 2 seconds in a spreadsheet. Maybe you need the ticket number, maybe you need the time, the engagement, maybe you need more details on it. But keep it simple. It's a one-sheeter. The other thing you'll find out is you don't have 50 pages of complaints every day. If you do, you got more problems than not logging your complaints. Okay? The ship's already started to go down. You've backed up and hit the Titanic iceberg 3 times. But what you'll find out is maybe you got 2, maybe you got 1, maybe you don't have any some days. And then once a week when you have a staff meeting, you're talking with a department and you go, okay, let's go over our log. Okay, you had this guy come in, the thing was broke, we fixed it, tell me what you did. Well, you just needed it replaced, I got him another one, we rang it up, we exchanged it, all done. What'd you do? You had the same problem on that same product a few days later, a customer came in, what did you do? Well, I did this and then I did this and blah, blah, blah. Okay, are we consistent in our replies to how we're solving a problem? Also, it will identify a problem. Maybe you don't know you have a problem. I was in the restaurant business, again, for years. We bought top quality steaks. I mean, I bought from one of the best suppliers in Chicago. We bought the best prime cut steaks we could find. And all of a sudden, I started getting rampant complaints about our New York strips. I mean, in a week's time, it went from 0 to 60. And I went back to the log, and I'm like, my God, we've had 10 complaints on New York strips this week. What the hell's going on? Is anybody eating a New York strip this week? Yeah, I had one on Tuesday. It wasn't very good. Well, why didn't you say something? We can't have this. We got to solve the problem. Called the supplier, checked it out on our own, found out, yeah, we've got an inferior product. We got to solve this problem right now because our log shows our customers are upset. That was our communication tool within the team. Plus, it made sure that we all had the same plan for how we're going to fix it. If you come in and you say, my steak's tough, can I cook you another one? Sure. Here you go. Is that one cooked the right way? Is it good? Yeah, this one's great. Problem solved. If you had the people that go, oh, really, your meals, that's not good? Whole thing's on me. Okay, great. That employee just gave away $75 worth of food. This guy bought a drink. I gave $3 to that customer for the same complaint. This one cost me $75. This one cost me the price of the steak because I just cooked another one. Again, you start tracking it. Now, one of the things I will beg you all to not do is to ever criticize an employee for handling a complaint. If they took it upon themselves to solve a problem for a guest, whether it was right or wrong, make sure you recognize the fact that they solved the problem. Make sure the guest is happy. Because even if it's bad for our bottom line, they solved the thing for the customer. We want to make sure that's the first thing. But if you have a log, how many of you have a log? Does anybody log their complaints? Okay. How many of you think you might do it? Okay. It takes seconds, really. I mean, in a fast-paced environment like a restaurant or hotel, it was, I'll take your steak. Guys, I need another medium New York strip. New York strip. Drew. Done. That's how quick it was. You just wrote it down quick and you were done. It wasn't writing a dossier. Okay? We didn't need a theme paper, a term paper on how the steak was cooked. We needed 3 things. The time, the date, who it was, whatever, done. And what did we do? New steak. We had the records we needed. There was no worry about what was going on in the business. I just thought it was a great feedback place. Now, how many of you love customer complaints? Show of hands. Can't wait to deal with the upset people. No? Not so much. She's like, are you done yet? Customer complaints. I was one of the few on the dark side when someone said, hey guy, I got a complaint with this guest out there. I've been talking to him about it. I really need you to get involved with this thing. Can you come out here? I was like, absolutely, bring it on. But you're coming with me. I'm not going alone. You're going to come with me. You brought him to me. Let's go do this. Let me show you how we take care of this, especially if somebody new, inexperienced, hadn't been in this scenario before, doesn't know what it's like to get slugged a couple of times in the ring. And you use it as you've heard the term teachable moment. There's no better teachable moment than talking to a guest about something they've brought to you. You're going to learn something today. 90% of our guests that come to us with a complaint aren't even complaining. Go back to your list. If you made a list today or you're going to make a list in the future, take a look at the list of your complaints. I'll bet you that most of them aren't even a legitimate complaint per se. They're not upset. They're not mad at you. They just came to you and said, okay, I bought this. It really didn't work the way I thought it was going to, or it's broke, or I need a new one, or something's wrong with it. Can you fix it for me? Give me another one. Not mad, not anything. Maybe, I don't even know what I'm doing with this thing. Maybe I did it wrong. I don't know. Fix it. Tell me where I'm wrong. Customers will bring you things, 90% statistically are just looking for advice. I don't know what I'm doing. I need some help. I thought I did. I don't. Help me out here. It's no different than if they never were a customer of yours in the first place. They're just looking for more information. A whopping 9% are actual complaints. Statistically, they actually brought a complaint to you. So a little less than 10% are actually complaining. They're upset to the point where they're going to come to you. OK's not cutting it anymore. I'm now to a point where maybe I'm starting to get irked. I'm still not angry. I don't want to be angry. I'm a happy person. I like people. You just caused me a problem, and I want the problem solved. Don't give me any garbage. Done. Statistically, a whopping 1% are actually pissed off. And I use the term because that's the only way to define it. Okay? They are mad. They are angry. They are significantly upset. Here's where I draw a line, though. As a boss, as a manager, as a customer service guy, do not let someone swear at you. Draw the line. Joked around earlier about firing a customer. I will not let a customer swear at me. Employees, that's a whole different discussion. Exactly, but it's the same scenario. It really is. It really is. Yeah, I mean, if an employee ever swore at me, it better be in the office with the door closed.
Oh, no, I mean customers swearing at employees.
Oh, no, that's 100%. And that's what I would tell them. Yeah, you're exactly right. No, I would tell my staff flat out, disengage right then and there. You're done. And if you're not comfortable with telling them to get out, this is where you come. This is definitely where you come to your superiors, and we'll handle it. If you're in the hotel industry, like where are we? We actually had security in that. Tell us what you need. They're gone. They're going out the door. It's tough. It's hard to do it. It's hard sometimes to say, you know what, I'm sorry, we're done. Now, that doesn't mean if somebody slips up, I am so damn mad. I mean, no, you're out of here, I mean, I'm talking about the really good words, okay? If somebody really starts going off, we're done. You've crossed the line. You can't possibly be so mad at me that you're going to cuss me out like that, especially in public. There's just no reason for that. I use this as an example. I had a gentleman years ago, came in, checking in. He was at the concierge desk, sets his bags down, and he just started cussing out the concierge. Just tall out, cussing him out like a longshoreman. I'm in the bar area. I could hear this guy going berserk. And in the concierge, he was a great guy. I mean, he was an experienced concierge who's dealt with every scenario on the planet. And he was using everything. He's like, sir, you can't speak like that. Please don't say, what's the matter? I don't understand why you're so upset. I need you to calm you down. Can we step over here? This guy was just tall out, pissed off at him. So finally, I just came out of the bar. I'm like, sir, what's going on? Good Lord, what's happening here? And he turned around, and it was my turn. He just went after me. And finally, I just looked over. I had a security guy that was over by the door. I just said, come here. He walked over, and the two of us, we just walked him out the door. We set his bags down on the sidewalk, called over for the valet, get his car, get him out of here. And if his car doesn't leave the parking lot, call the police. And I stood there on the sidewalk with security, and we just stood there like this until he was gone. And he was just tall cussing all the way out of the parking lot. Found out later on when we looked up who this guy was, he was the CEO of a very large company, one of our best guests who was spending big money, staying in one of our best rooms, eating our best food. I fired one of our top guests, and I was never so happy to do so. I knew the money I was losing, and I knew what damage it may cause professionally because he was going to tell people. I walked back through the door, and this is late at night. This was probably 9, 10 o'clock at night. As soon as I hit the doors opened back up. All of the staff, all the people in the bar area, and all the guests that were still checking in applauded. Any moment I thought I was wrong, I mean, right away I'm thinking, God, what did I just do? I think I know who this guy is. And I just kicked this guy out. I walked back in. What do you think that was for public relations, for my own staff, for my guests? People brought it up long after that. They're like, who was that jerk? What was his issue? I have no idea. I've never talked to him since. He's never going to check in again, and we've actually locked his account down. He can't even make a reservation here. He's done. We fired him. He's out of here. Sometimes you just don't know. You don't know why people get that far. But under normal circumstances, you can take care of people. Customer service will bring them back to the table and keep them happy. First thing, here's where the actual handling customer complaints part comes in. Listen, if I come to you and I tell you I have an issue, solve this, don't talk until I'm done. When a customer brings you something, you just stand there and you just listen. Tell me more. Maybe they'll stop. Tell me more. You got to feed it. Sometimes it's like opening the door to be kicked. You have a complaint, they tell you, and you go, okay, anything more? Anything more you need to tell me? Please, tell me everything you need to know. I want to hear it all. Tell me everything that you want to get off your chest. and listen and attentively and be interested, look interested, ask questions. Make sure, I'll show you this video here in a second because it really sets it up, especially for customer service in the hospitality world. But, you know, how do we react initially when somebody, what's the look on our face when somebody brings us something? Are we ready for it?
Reservations, this
Yeah.
is Alicia.
I found a half-price room rate on an online travel site, but when I contacted the Denver property directly, they refused to match the rate. What kind of stupid policy is that?
Welcome, checking in.
Welcome, really? Welcome to free parking. Is that what you guys charge? Good evening. How can I help you?
Get your supervisor.
Is something wrong?
Was I unclear? Get your supervisor.
If you work in the hospitality or leisure industries, chances are you've heard people say some pretty interesting things. Sometimes odd things happen to ordinary people when they believe they're not getting what they deserve. Whatever the situation, if it is your job to help them, you're bound to be on the receiving end of some awkward comments, some difficult requests, and some just plain grumpy people. The truth is, there's not a lot you can do to stop it, but it's still part of your job to try to make things right. It's called customer service recovery. Guests are going to be who they want to be, and they're going to say what they want to say. The question is, when it happens to you, will you find the right words at the right time? Let's begin with some of the most common situations where a guest is frustrated by your service or your quality.
Hi, how's your food? Did we get your sandwich right?
No, not at all. I've just been sitting here waiting. Everything has too much salt on it. It's making me sick. No way. $62 in incidentals? I had a Diet Coke from the Honor Bar on the first night and nothing after that. $17.95? How much 10 minutes that stupid movie? I'm not paying this.
Hopefully you don't hear comments like these every day, but when you do, the trick in responding to them is to realize that for the guest, they are a unique problem that concerns them greatly. Instead of adding to their troubles, your words can begin to turn their frustration into understanding. The words you use will change with every situation, but the signals you send your customer should remain consistent. And there are 3 signals every customer needs from you. I care, I understand, and you can trust me to take care of this.
Those 3 statements are powerful. I love this video, by the way, and this is a private firm that has this. This is not my video. This is a company that does this professionally. You can purchase their videos and use those for. I'll be honest, this is probably the best $1,000 I ever spent for content. There's tons of stuff, but it's really, really good stuff. And I use little pieces of it now and then just to kind of throw it out there because I love the way they present this. But you know, I do care, I do understand, I do want to hear more. I am here to solve this problem for you. We want to make sure that we put those comments out there. And then again, as I say, keep asking those questions. Keep bringing it back to you know, do I understand? You know, have you ever done that process where you tell a secret, you whisper it to somebody, and they whisper it to somebody, and it goes around the room, and by the time it gets to the end of the room, it's a completely different story, different room, different policy. It's like, how did that happen? Same thing happens when you're listening, especially if somebody's really talking with emotion. They're really upset with you. They're really upset with what happened here. And they're not getting it out. They're just not a good communicator. So you got to ask them, okay, let me get this right. This is why you're upset. And again, it's almost like opening the wound, but you have to make sure you completely understand what that customer wants. You have to know. And it's tough because you have to ask those questions. And it's like sticking your face back in the ring to take another shot. You got to go for it. You got to make sure you completely understand everything they're going for. Now, on your list of 10, these are the 10 complaints we usually get. What do? Do you discuss a policy within your company, within your team? Here's how we solve these problems. Here's what we do. First thing we offer is this. We'll do this for you. Second, we'll do this. Okay, you're not happy with that, and we'll jump ahead here. Make sure it works. Make sure that that is a solution that the customer wants in the first place. I can do this for you. Is that cool? No? Oh, okay, that didn't work. What's the next thing we do? Do we have a list of acceptable solutions to solve problems? And think about it. What if you have 5 problems? You have 5 things. There's only 5 things on your entire list, and each one of those has 3 solutions. You have a whopping 15 things you have to work with your team on to developing what's our policy for solving these problems. It's not a daunting list. But it's just kind of an understanding of try with this, go to this, go to this, and you have the authority to go through this rank. You can do these things. So if you know, I'll use a steak explanation for, somebody just went and replaced the steak, all it cost me was a new steak. But then I see down the list here where somebody refunded the whole meal. I may, as a manager, go back and say, why'd we give them everything? Because this is the third time it happened, boss. Oh, okay. Wow, that's not cool. Now we know why the different decisions were made. And we have a record of it. We can track those things to find out why did we make those different decisions? Why did we go to that? But it didn't ultimately have to go up the chain to go through the list of solutions. So make sure that we ask, what if it's not? What if the customer says, no, that's not going to work? I'm not happy. I'm still not happy. I appreciate you're going to do it. It's not going to work. Not going to make me happy. Okay, then you keep going through that list. You can run out of solutions. There are customers you can't please. And maybe they want to take you somewhere you can't go. That's a reality as well. Sometimes you just can't find the solution that's going to work. But if you keep going through the list and you find that thing that works, solve it. Solve the problem. Guest is happy. You're happy. They're going to come back. We haven't lost them. We've secured the account. We've secured the base. Everything's good. It happened at 10 o'clock in the morning, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we're still dragging the baggage around behind us like somebody kicked us. No. When it's done, it's done. Slap the easy button and move on. Why do I say this? Because it is too easy to carry the negative through the day. You had 100 customers that were so great. Thank you for everything you did, and they're happy. One person can knock you out of your stride for the day. It's very easy to let it happen. Have you had that happen? Have you had one person take your head off, a problem happened, and it just blew your day? Why? You do everything so well, why let that one person destroy you for the day? Not everybody's going to love everything you do. You try hard, but that one person brought you down. Solve it. Fix it if you can. Hopefully it's a solved solution, easy button, move on. That's why you have logs. That's why you have discussions as a team later at a meeting, so that you don't have to have these things going on during the day. I don't want to disrupt the apple cart by bringing it up with all the rest of the staff at 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm trying to get ready for something else and go, yeah, that guy was a real jerk to deal with. No, wrong discussion. Leave those things behind. Leave them behind. Don't go with them. Again, I'll point out the fact that I don't know what your company policy is. If you have a policy in writing or understood that this is how we solve things and this is the chain it goes through, for God's sakes, follow your policy. Okay? I'm not telling you to start bucking the boss's offers. Okay? Here's what I will tell you. I have written an awful lot of vision, mission statements, and company bylaws over the years that I've changed 100 times. Because all it took was one employee coming to me and saying, I know that policy says we can't do this, but I think it's kind of stupid. Why? Well, because if we did it this way, why? Well, because I worked at this other place and we did it this way and it worked great. All right, my eyes are open. Maybe it is a good idea. Maybe it is time to change a policy. So always have your eyes open to how you can improve your business based on the feedback of your guests, based on the feedback of your staff. And a lot of that will come from how we handle complaints and interaction. We get a lot of that feedback. This is the most missed opportunity in customer service. And not necessarily for negative, even for the good and the bad. How many of you follow up on a customer complaint after it's done? Solved it, they went out the door, you hit the easy button, what is he saying? I thought he told us to turn our back and go on. Kind of. Our policy, my policy, the person who solved the problem, they had the interaction with the guest. If possible, you call that customer within 24 hours, personally, from the office. Hi, hey, this is Drew. You guys were in yesterday. I'm really sorry about what happened. I'm glad you're still a great customer of ours. If you have any other questions, you want to talk to me about anything, give us a call at this number. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much. That was the comment. We didn't open the wound back up and say, boy, sorry we screwed up that thing. We didn't want to go there. We're not trying to open a wound. We just wanted to make it clear that, and a lot of people will answer the phone. Those who don't, you leave a message. How do you get their phone? Well, a lot of people will fill out a comment card. A lot of people will offer it up. You can say, hey, I may want to share what we did here. Just let my boss know about this. He may want to talk to you about it too. Can I get your phone number? Sure. How many of you would, in that circumstance, if an employee said, can I get your number? Maybe the boss would like to follow up on this thing. Would you give a number out? About 75% statistically do. They'll give a number. They'll hand it over. So 75% of your guests will readily offer it up. Now, technology. Who's got a cell phone on them right now? I know one rang. who's logged into social media, would answer a call. If you got a text right now, you'd pick up your phone and go, whoop, what was that? Especially if you got kids and you're looking out the window, okay? And this is a good question for especially millennials and centennials. If you got a text from a business that said, hey, this is Drew from the restaurant, from the resort, just wanted to follow up with you about our engagement yesterday. Thank you for being understanding. Hope to see you again soon. Would it blow your mind that you got a text from a business thanking you again? Have you ever had that happen? We also had an interesting policy of the manager, the owner, following up within 2 days. Same exact message. Hi, this is Drew. I talked to Steve. He filled me in on everything that you guys talked about the other day when you were here. I thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. I hope to see you again real soon. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to share with me, here's my direct line. Give me a call. Thanks so much. How many of you have received a call from a business after you solved the problem? They called you back to make sure it was solved. How many? How many of you have done it? How many of you received 2 phone calls? What would your reaction be if you got 2 phone calls? Problem solved. Or it's not, whatever, but you got 2 phone calls. The person you dealt with called you to thank you, and then the manager or the owner called and thanked you. Would it not blow your mind? This is why we did it. Honestly, this is why we did it. Because 1, we didn't get that many complaints, and 2, I'd have people walk in the door and be like, are you the guy that called me? Yeah? Thanks. You're basically thanking us for screwing up in the first place. Thanks for calling. You guys called me twice, right? Yeah, well, we just want to make sure everything's cool. I couldn't believe you called me twice. They were floored. It took us 30 seconds to guess to make the call. Tell me that would take a lot of time out of your day to make those calls, to make that connection. We even wrote letters, especially if we had, older folks, elderly. Quick note. Thanks for your time the other day. We really appreciate it. Here you go. Didn't mean maybe I'll slip a coupon. And we didn't do a lot of couponing or freebies or anything, but just a quick note, handwritten note. Hey, next time you come in, I'll buy you a drink. Something simple. See me next time I'll buy you an old fashioned. And believe me, they'd follow up on buying me the old fashioned. But you know what? We knew that if a guest walked in the door, even if they didn't come to me, and they said, yeah, some guy named Drew here sent me a letter and said if I brought it in or mentioned it, he'd give me a free drink. Absolutely, what do you want? Our staff didn't even question it. Because the only way you knew that a letter went out to get a free drink is if you got one. Or you were telling everybody on your block, tell me you got a letter and you get a free drink. But trust me, it wasn't like 50 people were walking in every night. Now, what if they are the 1%? The gifted, the angry, the mad. Here's where you go before that. How do you diffuse an angry customer? You can't start with just listening to their problem because they're angry at you. And you got to get them off anger before you can get them back to customer. So you got to talk to them. And how does it start? Well, first off, always remember they have the right to be upset. Even if they're wrong, at that point, they have absolutely every right to be mad at you. Don't let them cross the line, but make sure that you are able to look at them and listen to them, smile, agree. Don't mock them, okay? If they're really angry and you're sitting there smiling and laughing at them, you're probably going to cause a bigger problem. Listen without emotion, okay? It's too easy to get red-faced. It's too easy to get nervous. Somebody starts going off on you. Just remember, we've probably all been in that circumstance at some point. We were mad. We just wanted to get it off our chest. When we're looking at them, when we're being passionate about it, remember, really right now is our whole point is trying to defuse a bomb. We're trying to get this person from not exploding. Hey, sir, I'm terribly sorry. I understand. We're going to talk about everything. Let's step over here. I want to bring you over here. Let's get out of the rest of the crowd here. Let's have a chat. I want to talk to you. Now, here's a neat little trick. You're going to love this. Have you been to like a concert, music venue, and you see the director and he goes like this? What's that mean? You see that? Louder, stand up, make more noise, okay? Bring it along. It's just the opposite when you're talking to a guest. And if next time you have an upset customer, try this and it'll blow your mind. First time I tried it, I thought it was absolute crap. And I tried it, and I was amazed at how simple this worked. I started talking to people, and as I was talking to them, somebody was really upset. I said, you know what, I understand what you're saying here, but I want to make sure we get this problem down. I want to make sure we understand this. I want to get it down so we really understand what's going on here. And as I kept moving down, I kept pointing down, I kept motioning down, and I kept lowering my voice, and I kept bringing that person with me. And it worked. Freaked me out. I'm like, God, that was cool. I almost want to have another upset customer just to prove the theory. Did this really work? But over the years, I did get a chance to try it time and time again. I'm like, well, here, and it did. It was a technique of diffusing someone, getting them down, pulling them out of a crowd. Again, you have people who will put on a show. They want to blow up right in the middle of the place, right in the middle of your sales floor, right in the middle of the rest of your guests and customers. No, come here. Let's step over here. I want to talk to you. Really, I do. Come on. Let's come over here. Do what you can to bring that person over. Try to get the conversation down. Try to get it down to a manageable discussion as quick as you can, as understandably as you can. At the same time, always owning the problem. Now, there's a difference between owning and admitting. The owning part of it is, I hear what you're saying. I want to do everything I can to solve this for you. I want to do everything I can to solve this for you. Hey, I understand why you're so upset. I really do. But again, you haven't admitted to anything. You haven't said, well, you're right. You're just getting it down to a point to where now you can say, okay, I got you down to where we can talk person to person. Now, tell me your problem. So you do have to diffuse these people first. Don't just go to tell me the problem. You got to put the time in to bring them down. Because the compassion that they have and the passion for their problem at that point kind of rationals out the window. They're just mad. They just want you to hear mad. They don't really want you to hear the problem. Again, allow yourself to understand that you're going to make mistakes in talking to guests. Who here has made a mistake in anything you've done? Didn't deliver what you promised? So, You're perfect? Except for her. She's perfect. I wish I was. I thought, yes! I thought I was perfect. It was the worst morning of my life. I have 5 children, so I gave up on perfect. We make mistakes, and we learn from mistakes. But what I want you, if you don't take away anything from this, just remember that whether a customer loves you or they're upset with you, it's still just a conversation with a person who's in your business. They're there. They're a customer. Where you take it from there is entirely up to you and that person. If you can get yourself in a business setting to where you don't have a hierarchy of problems, it'll make your customers much happier. Now, granted, you saw the lady that walked in and said, I want to talk to your supervisor. Guess what you do? You go get the supervisor. Because the customer asks, I want to talk to your supervisor. Is there something I can help you with? I want to talk to your supervisor. You got it, ma'am. At some point, they automatically jump to that level. And that's following what the guest is asking for. So there's a certain amount of that goes into it. But most of the time, we can solve those problems right there over the counter. We can take care of it. We can get moving on with it. How many of you think that having a log and having a list of your complaints will help you start to grasp how you address your complaints? Yeah? Who loves complaints? Not a one. How many of you think maybe now you'll be a little more confident in someone bringing those things to you? You might try a couple of techniques. You might feel a little better about it. Maybe you've been doing it for 50 years, and you're so used to it anyway, but you learn little tricks. I've watched people, the whole lowering the hands and calming people. Like I learned that from a guy who was he was actually an associate professor who worked for me on the weekends, and I watched him talk to somebody. I'm like, that's like voodoo stuff. What are you doing? He's like, trust me, this works. I'm like, oh, you're good. That works. You learn things from people. You pick up techniques over the years, things that work, tone of voice, how to communicate. I worked in political marketing for a while. I'll tell you want to learn how to communicate, I have a dream, I believe, I feel your pain. I mean, some of that stuff you pick up, you're like, wow, these guys are good. No wonder they run for elections, I mean, that communication is a wonderful tool. But you pick up little tidbits here and through life. So I hope I've shared something with you today that helps you with your business. I want to thank you for everything you do, and I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to be here. So, God bless. Take care. Get out of here. Go home. It's snowy.
Thank you.
Drive safe.